What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the S3 podcast. Today, we're here with James Wood. He's a time attacker, rotary enthusiast, YouTuber. So let's just chat.
What's up, guys?
What's up, brother?
Are we officially starting now? I knew that. What's up, guys? Well, normally, Hunter's like, we're going to pause for a second, and then we'll go into it. Now it's just still paused. But anyway, welcome, everybody. This is James Wood over here in the awesome pink hoodie.
Wait, before I forget, www.s3mag.com. You can get a 2-year subscription to our magazine that I always forget to plug for $20, and you get yourself a free T-shirt. We lose money on this deal, guys. Come on, just go to the website.
Nice T-shirt.
It is a nice T-shirt.
Yeah, it's not one of them $2 T-shirts. Like we honest to God lose money on this deal. God,
so
we're still
go to the website, click the link. Come on, help us out here. But anyways, like I said, James Wood, how you doing, bud? What you been up to during this whole quarantine thing?
I'm doing good. This whole quarantine thing, car news, basically just trying to get the FC as ready for something as possible. And I have a hill climb in about 10 days that I'm not prepared for it at all. Like cars in pieces sitting in the garage. So that's fun. I got to get that done.
But that's all right. First of all, back it up. James Wood, if you haven't heard of James Wood, check out your YouTube channel. I think you were real creative with the name. It's something like James Wood.
It's just James Wood. I mean, if it actually, I was pretty bad at doing this because James Woods is on YouTube, apparently. So when you search my name, you get him. So if you guys want to look it up, just type James Wood and RX7, and then you will definitely find me. If you don't, you might find the old actor James Woods that old people make fun of me for my name. So,
and it's Wood like a tree, WOOD. So yeah. And the car that you have is kind of this minty toothpaste greenish color FC RX7 with some. It's gold foil, right? Like the gold foil wrap. Yeah.
It's a gold vinyl. Do you guys actually have any idea what color that is or where it's from?
No.
The
gold or
the color. The green.
I have no idea what. No.
It's Midori green from an EK Civic.
Son of a.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I should have known that. I should have known that.
It used to be Electron Blue Pearl from an EM1 SI, and then when I needed a new color, I'm like, let's just go find another obnoxious Civic color, and we got Midori green.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
what color was the car originally?
Originally, it was red, and then I'm the third owner of the thing, so it was red, black, white, blue, and now it's green. So I owned it when it was blue and green.
Fair enough. I already know this story, but just for the sake of the readers or anybody that hasn't read the feature, how did you get into rotaries or cars in general, right? Because you didn't come from a family of car guys.
Not really.
It wasn't like that.
I mean, my family my dad was into cars until he had 2 twins and had to sell his fun cars. So my dad had 280Zs basically from 19 to about 28. He just had a bunch of Zs.
Yeah.
And then he had twins, got rid of those. We had minivans growing up and boring cars.
Yeah.
But how I got into cars was I went to Clemson for school and found this car club at Clemson. It was the oldest collegiate car club in the country. It was started in 1968, I believe.
Did your parents say, do something with your life, join a club or something?
Yeah, they didn't like the partying a lot and the excessive drinking. So I'm like, well, I'll go do something. And I found these guys. So that's pretty cool. The club holds autocrosses once a month. So that's how I kind of got my foot into motorsports. And probably after a year of doing that, I met my mentor there, and he called me and was like, hey, there's this RX-7 for sale in Charlotte, and you got to go buy it. There's no you should buy it, or hey, if there's this car. He's like, no, it's here, and you're going to go buy it. Here's how much it costs. Go get it.
Didn't it was Clemson, right? Didn't they have like, wasn't their whatever loaner car an RX-7 or something?
It was a first gen. It was an FB.
Okay.
So they had that. The clubs had like 3 of them, I think. But yeah, it was just a little 12A FB that was the fastest car at any of the autocrosses, and also the most bulletproof. Like, just old 12A rotaries don't break. I don't know how. They just survive everything. And then when they went to like my motor and the FD, the REW motor, those things are temperamental and just love to blow up for no reason.
Yeah.
But those old carb motors are fantastic. Like, they run forever. So don't know how that worked.
Well, we've got that on recording now, so I'm going to go buy one.
There you go. There you go. I'll come help you fix it, because they like don't really break. And then the only way really, you just need to know carbs. And I feel like you know carbs, Willie.
I don't know carbs. I don't even eat pizza. I'm kidding. But no, I don't know carbs very well at all now. So that's cool. So you were autocrossing at school, getting a degree in the process, and then it led to a terrible financial car habit.
Oh, 100%.
And rotary.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I think, so my first ever event, the RX-7, this was a real horrible idea too. But my first ever event was a hill climb. It was the Dragon Hill Climb. That was my first true competitive motorsports event in the FC.
Yeah.
And
Great
it was just, it was the most clapped out car at the time. I had blown out suspension on the thing. I had used R comps that were taken off from a friend's Spec Miata.
Mm-hmm.
It was overall not a safe car. Like, probably shouldn't have done what I did on there on the mountain, but that was my first just entry and step into hill climbing. And after that, I was hooked ever since. And I think I've run the Dragon, I think 7 times.
Damn.
And we've had 3 podiums there. So hopefully we'll do 8 and we'll get a 4th podium, and that'd be pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
This might be an ignorant statement, but I didn't even know they had like competitive hill climbing at the Dragon.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a road people went and drove
So
just because.
that, yeah, it is that. The Dragon Hill climb is not technically on the Dragon. It is off a side road that just dead ends in the middle of nowhere. That's why we get to shut it down for a weekend, and no one cares. Like, no one has a problem with that. So yeah, it's I'm trying to remember. I think it's a 2.3 mile course.
Really, that's
from
a long road,
top to bottom. I can't remember I don't even remember how many turns are on the thing. I got to look at my little track map. But I think there's like 19. And yeah, it's fun. It's a little scary at times, because there's you get to pick between a mountain to hit or sometimes a guardrail to hit.
Right.
And then sometimes no guardrail. And it's just and just fall off. So it gets interesting.
Terrifying, but it also sounds really fun. Like, one problem that I always seem to, like, just whatever head scratch thing with motorsports is, it's like, man, you put all this time into building these super performance cars, and then you drive them on a 2.5 mile track. And I feel like tracks are too small for cars these days, which are, fast. And I feel like they need more room to breathe. I really like the concept of kind of that barreling down a road and not, you know what I mean? Like, that's the real deal stuff. Like, you screw up there and there's not kitty litter. You know what I mean? There's not something to stop. Like, the other, what was it, 2 weeks ago, me and Hunter were, I shouldn't say this.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I was talking about how we were off-roading, and let's just say we stumbled on a trail that perhaps in hindsight we shouldn't have been on. In hindsight. And
in hindsight.
It made
made
everything super fun and super real, and everything that you build a Jeep for is being put to the test, because you don't know what's around the next corner. You have to trust what you've built to get you past or over, or at least move whatever's in the way, and you have to do it quickly, so you're not there that much longer, and so, and on top of that, it was raining and everything, and it's just the real deal. And in the process,
just to give you
I realized
a little
hint.
We had one Jeep stuck on a log to the point that all four wheels were not even touching the ground. It was just a Jeep on a log, just kind of dangling there.
But you know what I mean? Like the point was somewhere in the middle of it. I looked over at Hunter and I was like, I think I found what I truly love off-roading. And unfortunately, I think it involves maybe some trespassing.
Breaking the law. That's all you. It's the same thing as when we were in college. All you want to be doing is breaking the law.
Yeah. But I mean, not that you're breaking the law, but it's the same thing. You're like, this is real stuff. Like, these are real roads, real dangers. You know what I mean? Like, it's not there. It's not going to protect you. Like, it's not an amusement park. You can get hurt, you know, and so it puts a whole new element into it. That seems super cool to me.
It is. Terrifying. It's awesome. And actually, like, speaking of just real danger, so I have my little, like, cult following of RX-7 people. It's great. Sure. There's a Facebook group that has, like, Hurt, Rob Dom, the Vargas brothers, myself, and then people just make dumb memes about us. And it's pretty awesome. But one of my, like, new follower people, subscribers, I tell the same thing to everybody. Like, get your car running. Like, everybody just wants to build, like, crazy turbo builds. I'm like, get the thing running, go get some seat time, and have fun. And then waste your money down the road when you actually can handle whatever you're doing, or you can at least have fun before you do your project for 5 years and sell it. So that's, like, the advice I always tell people.
Yeah.
And one of the new guys basically commented on a Facebook post I made because I was trying to have my turbo setup done by the hill climb. It's not happening, so I took it back off, and we'll just go NA and it'll be fine. But he's like, it's probably a good thing to get your car running NA first. Like, but I've been doing this for 7 years NA, like, we know. And he didn't know that, and he's cool about it, and he's like, that's a great idea and stuff. He's like, well, I really hope your motor just doesn't blow. Like, if your turbo, I'd be worried about that. And I'm like, well, honestly, at a hill climb, the last thing I'm worrying about is the health of my engine. I'm kind of thinking about the health of myself. Yeah. And, like, do I want to be off the side of a cliff or have a blown up motor? I'll pick a blown up motor any day. Like, sure. I don't need to test that roll cage.
1,000%, yeah.
But yeah, like, it just goes back to like, the danger is just real, and it's just a different feeling than you get when you're at a track. Because, like, when we're at Road Atlanta, like, Road Atlanta is terrifying. I don't care who you ask; it's always terrifying. Every single lap is scary. I mean, you guys have driven there. When we're at the hill climb, like, it's scary for different reasons. Because I could be coming around a turn doing 80 or 90, and all of a sudden there could be a deer in the middle of the road. Right, that happened. Or, you know, somebody popped a motor and dumped oil on the road, and I don't know about that. There's no one. Yeah. There's no corner worker waving a flag saying, "Hey, there's a problem here." It's like you turn the corner and you're just like, "Oh shit, this is just what's in front of me." Whether it's clear road or a deer or a bumper or some oil. So, yeah, those dangers are there, and I think it's one of the coolest things about this sport is you just don't really know, because, like, every run at the hill climb's different.
I was gonna say, it puts the sport back in motorsports. That's for sure.
Now, is there more of that outside of the Dragon that you participate in? Okay, so what are some of those?
So for there's a bunch. So basically, the main hill climb areas are there's a ton in Pennsylvania. They have their whole little hill climb association up there. There's just to name a few. There's, like, Weatherly. There's Pagoda. Those are kind of the main two ones I know up there. And I've gone up there with some friends in the past to just spectate and hang out. And I was planning on being there for this year, but Corona kind of ruined my whole race schedule and like everybody's. So I'm just kind of taking what I can get right now for motorsports events, and then for 2021, I'll have, like, a more full schedule. I actually got invited to do I believe it's the world, or it's North America's longest hill climb. It's down in somewhere in Mexico. Real kind of sketch, just from the sound of it. It's like 13 miles or 14 miles. through the mountains in Mexico, and just talking to some friends who did it. It's a lot of fun, but you definitely don't want to crash there. The safety in Mexico is a whole lot different than the safety in America.
Yeah.
Sports events, like
Yeah.
there is none.
Yeah.
There's some, but it's like if I crash, someone could be like 8 miles away from me. Like there's not someone like maybe a quarter mile down the hill. It's like
they'll just pull up and rob you and then leave you again.
We'll be flipped over. Our X7 will be flipped over. I'm like sitting there, and someone comes up, hey, steals whatever.
Yeah, you're like, thank God.
Right.
Here,
all right, cool.
take your wallet and some stickers. It's like, shoot. Yeah, that's nuts, dude. Do you by any chance know Richard Tomlin at Apex Autoworks out of Houston area?
I do not.
Okay, he builds cool race cars and whatnot. They have a shop, but he's big into that Mexico stuff, man. They got that Chihuahua race, if you ever heard of that. And it's just one of those segmented, rally / race things where, and that's what he said, dude, you come and it will be absolutely an epic experience. He's like, but it's just, dude, it's just no rules. He
was begging us to go.
Yeah, he's got something else in the works now. We need to talk about one of those challenges where you drive a cheap car across the country or something.
I want to partake in that. That's
he's an adventurous car guy. He's like an adventure racer, if that's a thing, you know. So yeah, super cool.
That'd be dope. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you talk about the danger and the being scared, because I was just sitting here thinking I was at a lake this weekend, and I was trying to talk a 9-year-old girl up about wake surfing, and she was like, I'm nervous. And she's like, I'm just, I'm scared. And I was like, yeah, embrace that though. Like that's the feeling. And you only get that feeling like once. And then once you start to learn it, that feeling's gone. So I was like, as dumb as it sounds, enjoy that. And then I kind of stopped and I was like, I should listen to myself sometimes, man. Because when we were doing that Type R stuff last year, man, the jitters, man, the anxiety was real. You talk about Road Atlanta being scary, and dude, it is, man. It's just intimidating going out there, and it's like I wish I had taken my own advice and enjoyed, soaked up that fear. By the end, I kind of did. By the end, you got a little bit used to it, and you're like, I'm nervous, but I like it, and twisted, but. I don't know. Road Atlanta to me, I don't know if it's because I worked there when I was younger for the racing school. So I've just, even though I don't have a ton of track time, I have a lot of time on that track, if that makes sense. Moving stuff around and having the instructors kind of show you stuff. But like Road Atlanta, even though I know that the cost of probably a screw up are a lot worse, it just does not scare me like Gingerman was like a total panic. I hadn't been there before. I got sent out a group I should not have been in, and I was lost and getting run down and trying to figure out where I was and when to pass people by. It was overwhelming. But like Road Atlanta to me, I just break it down into 3 little segments or whatever. It just feels like you're not it's not a panicky track. It's fast, but there's room to kind of get your bearings.
Oh yeah, there definitely is. For me, when I go drive Road Atlanta, I think about it in little segments. So you've got, for me, it's turn 1 to turn 5. So all the S's, that's just a big segment. Then I treat essentially 6 to 10B as my third segment, or my second segment, and then just 11 and 12 is the third segment. And 11 and 12 is just that's the more frightening part to me, just because we're a grid life. I have communications with Ty, who's my crew chief, and we'll talk to each other during the laps and stuff. I actually remember I ordered Dunkin' Donuts on the back straight while in competition at Grid Life.
Really?
Yeah, he one of our other, so we use I'm poor and I can't afford radios, so we use an app called Discord, which a bunch of gamers talk to each other. So we had that set up and we opened it up to the public. So basically, I think we had 100 people or 120 people listening to our conversations during the weekend. And you can join you can join the room. Cool. You just couldn't talk. It was just 4 of us that could talk.
Yeah.
But my buddy Devin gets on and he's like, "Hey James, what are you doing?" I'm just like, on the backstretch of Road Atlanta. Why? He's like, what do you want for breakfast? It's like, seems like a very inopportune
What are my options?
Yeah, like, what? Where are you at? He's like, I'm at Dunkin'. I'm like, oh, sweet. All right, I need a cold brew. I want a bacon, egg, and cheese, and I want these donuts. And he's like, all right.
Really?
And I'm like, oh yeah, going down turn 12. Hold up. And then we had to like stop because it got real loud in the RX-7 just because things obnoxious. And yeah, take 12, and then we continue on. And it was funny. People were in that chat, and they you could like type, but you couldn't talk. And so I was like, is James ordering breakfast while driving? And Ty came on. He's like, yeah. He's like, he's ordering breakfast at 10A, 10B, and 12 at Road Atlanta. And I think we have the audio somewhere. I got to find it. It was classic.
That's
But my big thing with like Road Atlanta would be, I would always tell Ty like, hey, I'm going down. I kind of tell him where I'm at the track just so he has an idea. And I just remember taking 12 a little too hard. Well, I messed up 11, put a wheel in the grass at 11, and then got squirrely. And thankfully, I picked up drifting a couple of years ago and basically just floored it all the way through 12, and then came right into the pits afterwards because I was truly terrified. I'm like, I actually could have died. I was like, told Tom, like, yeah, we just drifted all at 12. He's like, oh yeah. So I was sitting on the bridge watching. He's like, I was kind of waiting for you to just like ping pong down the front straight. Yeah. And like,
right.
He's like, I was just gonna hope you're okay, but he's like, yeah,
the Type R a little squirrely in 12, didn't you?
I did. I lost control. I dropped a tire off, and I hit the brakes a little too hard. And it just spun around on me.
That's where it happens, right? If you get offline, I guess whatever under the bridge, it plays out, and then you end up dropping that outside tire right under the flag stand, really.
Yep.
And then yeah, it can hook, and that's when you ping pong. You're like inside
happened,
outside.
That's happened with that vet. What was it? 2 years ago.
Oh, the helicopter vet. Yeah.
Yeah, helicopter vet just flying, spinning down the front straight, and then you had all the mess happen after that with like the GTR hitting Doug Wynn's SRT4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like, that was all the cars crashed.
Yeah.
That was
a bad year.
The night before, me and Jesse were talking to a race team about being in two cars. I think it was a BMW and it was a Vet. That Vet the next morning. However, I think we like drank a little bit too much the night before, and we're not present for like the 8 a.m. run or whatever. I was supposed to be in that Vet.
Oh, geez.
So every time somebody brings that Vet up, I'm like, damn, that was a close call for me.
Gosh, a bullet. All right, so you got. Well, I was just gonna say you got a NAFC RX-7. I know it's probably built up, but what's a good time at Road Atlanta? Like, what's your best time out there?
My best time at Road Atlanta is, what is it? I think it's 147 flat.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good because the first time I was there in the car, we ran a like 159. Yeah. And then we came back, and then I just got ballsier with all the lines and the brake points, and that's the best I've done so far. I want to get into the basically low 140s before I slap a turbo on and see how fast we can go then.
Yeah.
But
so what's reliability been like?
For my car's been honestly the most reliable thing I've ever owned.
Take that with a grain of salt, though. That's because all rotary people are like, I only blew it like 3 times.
Well, okay, so
I'm surprised you're not working on it right now while you're
talking. Let's see, I bought that in 2012. Yeah, 2012. So I had it for 8 years. I've never replaced the motor. It's never actually broken on me. Never rebuilt the motor. I got it from, one of the old. Have you guys heard of Speed Source? Or like, do you remember the old 3-rotor RX-8s that ran IMSA around? Yeah. So their engine builder built my motor.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah. So that guy's up in Asheville, and he built my motor, and it's been, I have 30-year-old car problems, not rotary problems, if that makes sense.
Right.
Right. The wiring goes bad all the time. I actually so my starter is in like 4 different relays all connected together, and all the contacts love to die. So I went to go try to start the car last weekend to just go drive it and like see how it is. And of course it wouldn't start. So I had to rip all that wiring out, and I just wired in one relay from my switch to the starter now, and it works. But my problems are just Mazda's hack wiring, basically from the 80s.
Yeah.
My cars never give me any problems, honestly. Like as far as the rotary goes, it's just stuff that breaks on old cars. Like it's just nothing different from like a 240 or some old BMW.
Okay.
And at least that's been my experience with it. So everybody's shocked when they find out I don't rebuild my motor every season or stuff like that.
Yeah,
So to put it in perspective, like how often are you running that car?
Let's see, on a normal like race season.
Yeah, not really.
I probably drive that thing 2 times a month at a track. So it's whatever, probably 8 sessions a weekend at 9,000 RPM the whole time. Nothing really below that. Because I make power from essentially 6,500 to 9,000. That's my sweet spot. So anything below that, it's nothing. So it's always got to be there.
Some of us are like, I don't even know what 6,500 sounds like.
That's
So
what I
your
love
drums are just
about.
blown out. Then they're just gone.
That's what I love about RX-7s, though, is it's like one of the only. I guess you can argue this for VTEC, earlier VTEC or whatever, but like an RX-7's like one of those truly should be an absolutely kind of collector, enthusiast, diehard type of pedigree car.
Oh, for sure.
But like you can still afford one. You know what I mean? I feel like the whole setup is so exotic. And when I say exotic, I mean just foreign. Like, like to engines in general. They came out of a different planet, And it's like, it's just so cool that like, it's so weird like that, yet so affordable. And that people that understand rotaries are like absolutely their own little culture. I got one. Did I ever tell you? I actually got 2 RX-7s. I was getting gas in my CRX, and they were doing like some concrete work around like the air pump or something like that. And the guy came walking over to me to talk about the CRX, and then he was like, yeah, man. He's like, I actually got, anybody that likes RX-7s? I got 2 of them. I'd let go cheap. And I was like, oh, man. Yeah, I mean, dude, I know people that just love cars. Like, we started talking. He was like, yeah, I really just need them gone, like really cheap. And he wasn't really saying a price, And then he was like $300 for both. And I was like, where do you live? And he was living like 2 hours away. Well, one of them was a white Turbo 2 car. And I was like, I'm in. So we went and got the white Turbo 2 car. Actually, oh yeah, it was exactly like that. I actually never picked up the other car. It was like the donor car for the Turbo 2, and I never went back and got it. But I got the Turbo 2, man. I went and worked on it hardcore at a buddy's shop for like a week, and then realized I had no idea what I was doing. I had a buddy at Cork Sport, and if I remember this might make sense to you. It damn sure didn't to me. But I don't know. I was going through the troubleshooting process, and he was like, so get somebody with a truck, and tie the car up to the truck and have him go like 30 miles an hour, 25, 30 miles an hour. He's like, make sure the key's an accessory and just dump the clutch. He's like, if it works, you'll be engulfed in smoke immediately. So be ready for that. He's like, if nothing happens, that motor's done. You got to rebuild it or whatever they do, Apex Seals and all that. And I was like, you guys are freaking rowdy. I was like, that just seems like not the right thing to do. So somebody offered me $700 for it, and I thought it was the deal of a lifetime. I sold it. There you go. Now I wish I never had.
A huge problem with RX-7s, especially FCs, is the starters are just horrible. Like they're crap. They're too underpowered, honestly, to turn the motor over.
Okay.
So that's probably why he wanted you to just get it to like 25 miles an hour, just because it's moving and everything's fine, and you just like dump the clutch and it'll finally start. But yeah, I mean, if your battery's not charged up and you try to start that thing, it'll drain it pretty fast. Like it happens to my car all the time because I don't drive it enough.
Yeah.
So I just like let the battery kind of die, and then I like forget to put it on tenders. So I basically just gotta jump it. But yeah, speaking of like just not knowing anything about cars, I knew nothing when I bought the FC. Like I had pretty minimal like mechanical skill.
Yeah.
And the FC made me learn mechanical skill at the end of the day. Like, I had no clue how these things worked, and I just kind of like would drive it. I know, like, you turn it on and it would work sometimes, and it kind of just having issues, whether it was electrical or drivetrain wise or whatever it was, that made me learn how to deal with cars. So I just got the worst car to probably learn how to deal with cars, but it also made me, in my opinion, a half decent mechanic, because now I can fix my stupid car. Because at the end of the day, there's no shops that'll work on rotaries around here at all.
Yeah.
So, like, are piston engines weird to you? Are you like, what the hell is this? I don't.
No, they're not.
Now, are you like, you can work on anything?
I can work on both. Actually, the funny thing was, back probably, it's 2020, probably around 2014, I was hill climbing 2 600 wheel horsepower STIs.
Holy hell.
I had 2 friends that built them in college, and one of them just, I don't know what, but he didn't like driving. So I ended up driving his car. And I also blew up 3 Cosworth motors for an STI. And I hate EJ25s. Like, that could be a whole different podcast of why James hates EJ25s. And I can list every single reason, because we just killed them. Like, it sucked. So yeah, I've built my fair share of EJ25s, and I don't like them. I never want to touch a Subaru again. Like,
That's funny.
that's just how it is. I'm like,
I feel like even Subaru guys don't like them.
yeah. Subaru boggles my mind. They're like, okay, we have this horrible engine, but let's just use it. We like, the design's been around for 30 years. We know the failures, but let's just keep putting in cars and keep having them blow up.
Sounds kind of like S3. We know what we're doing wrong. We're just going to stay the course.
There you go.
I'll ride this out. Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, every once in a while, like, I love all cars, you know, and every once in a while, like, certain cars start getting in my blood. Like the RX-7 did that time, and I was like, I'm going to learn. I want to be a guy that knows about rotaries. And then I realized, nah, you know, it's like, I'm not the guy. And
I don't want to do that.
every once in a while, little Subarus, especially, you know, like the earlier STIs and stuff, get in my blood, and I'm like, I kind of want, and I'm like, nah. I've never. We feature a lot of cars.
Yeah.
And rarely do I come across one of those guys that hasn't rebuilt engines. Like 2015 and up, those are still new enough. But any of the older ones, man, they're pulling them out all the time. They're getting pretty good at it.
Oh yeah, like,
We did a podcast recently with Mechanical Advantage Racing, and he was pulling an EJ25 out during the
On
podcast.
oh, that's classic.
It's
That
just
is
not a thing to him,
hilarious.
though. Like, it doesn't, you know, if he's got to pull it out, it doesn't piss him off or stress him out. I think he had it out. It was like ready to come out by the time we finished the podcast.
That's dope. Yeah, I think we got
He's in
down to.
Asheville, too.
Okay,
Yeah, he ain't far.
we got down to pulling EJ25s out. I think because we ran minimal stuff on the cars, we can probably have the motor out in about 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's what he said. Yeah.
Just basically out and on the ground. We never put them on stands. We always put them on the ground and then deal with it later. It was like, get it out, and then we'll just leave this for a week and then come back when we hate it less than we do now.
He lost for a minute.
And,
5
that's
weeks
how it works.
later.
Yeah, that's funny.
I actually need to. I got to rebuild a Honda. Well, I don't need to rebuild a Honda motor. Oh yeah, I own an S2000. That's actually what I daily.
Oh, do you?
Speaking of
Hell yeah.
raw VTEC, so I have DFC and then I have an S2000. That thing just hit 260,000 miles. Actually, it's
Original motor.
Yeah, original motor, original drivetrain, original everything. She's an old girl.
Seasoned. She's seasoned.
She's
Wasn't it the-
getting there.
Article, I think it was your car. I was talking about how there's like an appeal sometimes to temperamental cars like that. You know what I mean? And I think I related it to like a horse or something, you know, for like an equestrian person. Like it's almost a hobby to like tame the, you know, to tame the horse or to get this thing. It's like, yeah, this thing's a pain in the ass and it's finicky and it's hard to whatever and you got to deal with it. But like that's part of, I think it's really cool that there's people that still do it. Like, what a shame would it be if like nobody messed with rotaries anymore because everybody was like me and was like, they're a pain in the ass. Let's just let's just do a K series, And so, I mean, it's cool that there's people out there that are like, yeah, but it's cool, so I'm gonna keep it alive. I'm gonna do it the hard way because it's cool.
I actually love when people do that. Like I'm all for like. So swaps don't bother me. I know like every RX-7 is like, LS swap, or whatever people have say. Like I truly don't care because at the end of the day, I'm like, I know you know what you know and you don't what you don't. And if some dude does not want to learn a rotary, and like just it's like no, like fuck that shit, I'm out. Then put an LS in it, put a K series in it, put whatever you want in there, because I think it's cooler to see an RX-7 anywhere.
Yeah, alive.
Than it is to have a rotary. Like, I mean, I drive LS swapped FDs. Like, I've got a buddy that has one. I autocross it every single time he brings it out, and it's fun. It actually like screws me up all the time because I'm like, oh yeah, I can only rev this thing like 6,000. And it was funny. Like, we were in the car, and I just started banging off rev limiter. I'm like, oh, this is weird. My car has power here, like, and then I got to remember, I got to shift it. Like I think it's cool that people just still have RX-7s that actually like enjoy them still, whether it's rotary, piston, whatever. Like I just think it's cool to see them, and that's what a lot of people don't agree with me on.
I mean, I'm selling myself on another one right now. It's just, especially the FC, like, dude, I grew up in Jacksonville, so I got to go to 24 Hours of Daytona, and those damn GTU, the FCs. Yeah. Dude, those cars, and I didn't know what a rotary was, but they just captivated me, man. Like, they were awesome. They sound so cool. And now I'll go to, like, the Monterey Historics, and that, Mazda always does, it's Laguna Seca. They always do a thing there, and they'll fire those cars up, and it just, dude, it draws everybody. You know what I mean? It's just, it's so... Yeah, somebody's got to keep them things alive.
It's cool. Like they just have a cool sound. Like I love going to the track with like Andrew Casty. He's got that white FC with the really big wing that always came to Grid Life and like GTA and stuff.
Yeah.
I love it. Like when Andrew turns his car on, or when I turn my car on in the pits, you know exactly what just started and whose car it was.
And it sounds like a freaking racetrack, dude. There's something about that early morning road Atlanta, dew on the ground, and then all of a sudden, just like, yes, that's it. And it's up around. Yeah.
I think it's so much cooler than like when someone starts their LS set or LS swapped or whatever. It's like, oh, cool, it's an LS. Like we've all heard cammed LSs since forever, but it's like whatever a ported rotary starts, everyone just knows what it is, whether you like it or hate it. You're like, oh yeah, an RX-7 just started. And like that's just one of the coolest things to me.
Yeah, it's sick. So where do you want your driving career to go? Do you want it to be a career?
Yeah, I would love it to one day be a career. I mean, I basically treat it as a career right now. It just doesn't pay me. But even if it
we got you. We feel you.
Even if it was like just a gig where, well, it's actually kind of happening. But even if it was just a gig where it's like, hey, please drive my race car. Like I don't have to get paid. Like I don't care if someone paid me. Like if someone came to me and was like, hey, here's a GT3 car, just go race it or go drive it. I'd be like, for sure. Like I would pay you to let me do that. Like, it's one of those things to me. So I just want to. I love driving whatever I can get into. Whether it's someone's clapped out 240 drift car or someone's $100,000 time attack vet or just anything. So like I would love to get into wheel to wheel at some point and try to do like Pirelli World Challenge. I could definitely see myself getting into that. I need to go to Pikes Peak one of these years. I need to find someone that has a car that'll let me drive Pikes Peak because I don't know if I want to rebuild the FC, fix all of my questionable things I did back when I was younger, and make it like more safe. So yeah, like I would love to do that. But yeah, I like one day I would like it to be a career, even if it like doesn't pay me anything.
Yeah.
Even if I could just travel or like have like my costs covered. Like if one day, what would be dope is if one day racing didn't cost me a single thing.
Yeah.
Like I could get someone to pay for that. I could still have my 9-to-5 job that funds my entire life. But if racing just didn't cost me a cent, that'd be awesome.
I remember telling Mike that last year, because, you know, like last year with the Type R, that was a deal that we had put together with Motivicity.
Yeah.
Technically, we were getting checks from Motivicity, which we were using to drive the Type R. I looked over and I said, you know what we are?
You're a professional race car driver.
drivers.
Race car driver.
I couldn't say racer because we weren't wheel to wheel or anything like that. Yeah. But we were professional drivers.
Yeah.
Check.
Technically.
On that. Yeah.
That's definitely one of the goals for me is just to have that experience, just to have whatever someone write me a check.
You need? I'm going to send you some PayPal. It'll be like, I don't know, $10, maybe $15.
I was
like, you know what? I'll write you a check. That way you can at least look at it and be like, I am now a paid driver.
There you go. Let me grab something. Speaking of money right now, hold up.
Speaking of the Type R, if you guys haven't been paying attention to our social medias for whatever reason, Mike Sanders, co-owner of S3 Magazine, he's right here in the podcast with us, actually picked up not only our Type R from the Motivicity series, but Super Streets Evo as well. So congrats to Mike.
Hunter, you were breaking up when you said that, basically, Cliff Notes. Yeah, Mike bought back the Type R, which we kept threatening we were going to do. And then somehow it worked out. Talk about, you just got to speak things into your life sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be damned. So now we have a Type R and an Evo. And don't really know what we're going to do with it. Actually, you guys don't know, but I was talking to James about that last week because we were supposed to do the podcast. It got postponed. And I was like, I don't know what we're going to do with them, but we had a really small window to get them or not get them. So, of course, we had to do it because it was just, one of those things you can't pass up. Yeah. But now, without Motivicity's assistance, now that they've been bought, by turn 14, it's like, crap, this is going to get expensive fast,
Yeah, and I don't feel quite so bad about blowing up their car, but now that I own them, I really want to blow up my cars.
There is something truly freeing, and for anybody
I
listening,
don't want you guys blowing up my cars.
Yeah, dude, what about me?
No.
There's something that was so freeing about getting a car like a Type R, which is a new, expensive car for a lot of people or whatever. It's not anything to sneeze at. And knowing that you're only going to have it for 6 months is like the most freeing feeling. And we weren't like hooning it and trying to beat it up for the sake. It was actually the opposite. We were trying to really respect the car, but there was something just knowing that you weren't like having to worry about what the repercussions were going to be in 10 years or every little scratch on the car or whatever. It was just part of it, dude, I would advise anybody to kind of, within reason, treat your car like you're going to sell it in 6 months. Like there is a timeline and then it's going to be gone. Because so many people
It's funny that you say that about like not caring about the car, and now Mike looks back over the series like, "Fuck, we shouldn't have done that."
Yeah. Speaking of this whole philosophy, that's actually like how I treat the race car, kind of.
Yeah.
Except I don't treat it the way I'm going to sell it because I never will. How I treat it is one day I'm gonna drive into a wall, and like that just it is what it is. Like I like don't get on a track in a car unless I know completely, which I always know, but as long as like if someone asks me to drive their car, I'm like, you understand that I could crash this into a wall. And if you are not okay with that, I will not drive your car. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm going to crash it. I'm not saying that's what I plan to do or whatever, but there is a chance. Like if a tire blows or something fails or I just mess up that day, like we can go into a wall. And that's how I always treated the FC. It was like, it's a consumable at the end of the day. Like it's a race car. It's a tool. And people always ask, like I just put a FC 2000 front bumper on my car. Like you guys know the old Mimia looking FCs with no pop-up.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
familiar.
I put a rep version of that on my car, and everybody got real upset. And the internet's like, why would you buy fake parts? Don't buy reps. I'm like, well, am I going to spend $2,000 on a bumper, or am I going to spend $300? Because when I crash it, $300 sounds a lot better
It's a consumable part.
than me ruining some rare new like thing from Japan that like I just
Those purists don't want you to have that on your car while you're racing.
like they don't. They all claim they want me to, but then if you see it smashed up, then they're like, oh, you should have bought a rep one. And it's like,
Those same people are saying, "Oh, he shouldn't have had that on there on a race car."
yeah.
I just I watched that exact thing happen with, I don't know if you guys listening are familiar with the YouTuber TJ Hunt. I remember it being a big stink on social media because he bought a rep Rocket Bunny kit for a BRZ at one point in time.
Yeah.
So then he goes, all right, fine. So he buys a real Rocket Bunny kit for his 350Z that later turned into a drift car. And then they were like, why did you do that? Why did you put a Rocket Bunny kit on a 350Z? And he's like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just selling everything.
You can't please everybody. Like, you can't please everybody.
Please the mob.
No.
No.
Like, there's always someone will always have a problem with what you do. So I always just like do what I want. And if like, that's how I approach YouTube. Like, hey, if you want to watch or follow along to whatever I do, cool. But if you don't, I really don't care. Like it's not my thing. And unless you're giving me money, then I don't care about your opinion for the most part either. Like
Sure.
I'm doing whatever. I'm like, you're watching my videos for some sort of entertainment. And if I don't do what you want, pay me, and then we can discuss my opinions. But what I meant to show you guys. Well, you'll like this. I don't know if you saw on my Facebook.
Oh, I did see that.
That's
I did see
awesome.
that. Hell yeah.
Well,
What's that? That reminds me. What's the stay up thing?
oh, the stay up thing.
Because
So
I
that-
was in I have an old 911, not to brag, but just to set the stage, I guess. And I hadn't driven it in a while, and I got in it, and I was fumbling through like the door cards.
Oh,
and
did
there's
you
a
find
gold
that sticker?
stay up sticker that I must have gotten from you. I remember I got it from you at like Road Atlanta at one of those things, and I threw it in the door panel, and it disappeared. You know how sometimes the stickers suck up to like the inside? I didn't know it was there forever. Is that like a brand or what?
That was so one of my good buddies. His name's Kevin Wilson. He's actually tight with Jared Dienda as well. Kevin was a marketing guy for H. Scott Motorsports and a couple of the NASCAR teams. And then when shit hit the fan for NASCAR and like the recession and things like that, he got fired. And then he started a little clothing company that was called Head Held High. And his kind of like little hashtag motto was stay up. So it was just like kind of one of those things of just kind of keep your head up, and like if shit's bad, like keep going through it. So yeah, like all the like pretty much everything had stay up on it. I actually have a tattoo for that company on my bicep that I get made fun of a lot for. Kevin's got it too. It's technically the shadow of like two mountains, and it was on every hat. I'm sure I have some around here, but it was like on every piece of clothing we did. Oddly enough, it looks like a lightning bolt. So I get made fun of a lot for my lightning bolt, and then some people ask, and I actually tell them the story, and they think it's cool. But yeah, that's.
I realize I've got a stay up sticker on my camera gear.
Oh, do you?
Back here. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you gave it to me at Grid Life. Yeah, but it's been on there for a while.
Yeah, I did. I made like 100 of those, and I gave them out at Grid Life. I just gave them out to anybody that came to talk to us or anybody that like wanted to come say hi. I started giving them out, and that was kind of the deal. Was I was going to give out all of them for free just for Grid Life, like whichever. That was my first Grid Life. I'm like, I'll never do them again. So that was kind of the fun part about that was just making one little run and giving them to whoever wanted them.
So
I appreciate
the brand.
Yeah, it's still it's Head Held High, but it's still a brand. We still sell clothes and sell things. Stay up was just like the little slogan that
the motto slogan.
Yeah,
you're probably in our Grid Life video then, because I mean we were up late trying to get footage all night, and I think you just handed it to me like when I came in and shot the cars or something.
Probably. I know I always stop Wooly whenever I see him at the track to talk for like 5 minutes and then go back to either drinking or fixing my car.
God, I can't wait to get back to that.
Man, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So have you been running any events since the pandemic hit?
So I have yes and no. I guess to kind of depends. I've not driven my car at any events because it's too much of a pain. So I go to I help Matt Burke with iTrack Motorsports. So I kind of help him run his events, and then I'm in charge of all it's basically drifting and grip driving. So I'm in charge of all of the grip events. That's kind of my wheelhouse. I deal with those guys, and then Matt does drifting or runs those. And I go down every time there's an event at Lanier or Cordelia or wherever they have them. I just help him run the event because it's stressful for him. And it's stressful for me too. Sometimes I hate doing it, but just running a drift event all day is hard.
Yeah.
And Matt and I will take turns running start and basically doing flags and just kind of we just have to watch the whole time, just make sure no one's either endangering themselves, about to get hurt, fire, whatever. So we're just always on the lookout and just making sure everybody's being safe. So I trade off with Matt a lot. We'll get there early. I'll help him set up the course, and then we'll take turns kind of overseeing everything. And at the same time, when we're not running, we try to go scumbag people into letting us drive their cars.
Yeah.
So we do that every time.
Wooly, is Matt the guy that we ran into on the mountain that day during that snow day?
Hey, Matt Brewitt, right?
Yeah.
So you ever see, I know he's into the whole room for low off-road stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever do that with him?
I have not. I don't own a vehicle. I would love to. So Matt's actually trying to convince me to do that with him. I need to buy a truck. So the one thing I don't own is a truck, and it makes my life very hard. Just because, I have an RX-7, I refuse to drive on the street, which means I have to tow it everywhere. And not having a truck makes it hard. So I'm saving up for a third-gen Cummins right now. But Matt's trying to get me to buy a smaller truck so I can go do off-road stuff with him.
Sure.
So now it's basically the trade-off of, do I want a big diesel that I could tow an enclosed trailer with that I need to buy, or should I just get an open trailer and then have a littler truck that I can go wheel with him and still tow the car and haul all the gear? So that's kind of the conundrum right now. But with how things are going, I'm not going to buy a truck until next year, just because there's no race season anymore, so I don't need to rush getting anything.
Yeah.
So I'll just keep putting money away and eventually get something around December, January.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was just, the off-road stuff is going to be a lot cheaper for you than the track stuff.
I feel like
Start modifying it, and it gets expensive as hell really fast.
Speaking of off-road stuff, do you remember? It was the first Grid Life when I gave you the sticker. Do you guys remember seeing a burgundy third-gen Cummins that looked like a trophy truck with a bunch of overland stuff on it?
No,
I would have remembered that.
So I'll have to find a picture. I'll text it to you, Willie. But that was the truck that we used to tow my car to the track with that year.
Oh yeah.
And I actually got made fun of by the organizers and stuff. We got there and they're like, "You brought a lot of truck and not a lot of car." It's like, thanks, guys.
Appreciate that.
It was one of my buddies from he lives up in Cape Cod, and he decided for his vacation he's just gonna drive down south in his Cummins trophy truck and haul my car to Grid Life.
That's cool.
So he drove that thing down, and we took it to Grid Life, and it was funny. I had a bunch of guys come up to me and they wanted to talk about the truck, and they're like, "Hey," they're like, "What's this truck or whatever?" And I'm like, "It's got a diesel." Or I'm like, "It's a diesel and it has a turbo." That's about all I know. And they're everybody was sad, upset. I'm like, "This guy's the owner. Go find him. Go talk to him. Hit him up on Instagram. He'll tell you all about the truck." I'm like, "I don't know anything about trucks." And after that experience, I've been researching diesels now and getting into trucks more, and I just know how useful they are. I think I just grew up because in college I was like, I just want sports cars for the rest of my life. And now I'm in the point in my life where I just want to drive a couch, basically, as a daily. I just want a couch. Like, I just want to be comfortable. I don't want to have to like hurt my back getting into my lowered S2000 and driving around with coilovers and like listening to my exhaust. Like, I just don't want to do that anymore.
I know, but around where I live, trucks are essentially just the basic bitch soccer mom car for dad. So.
Yeah.
Like,
It's true.
I mean, while they look cool.
To be fair, so are Jeeps.
Those fighting words.
Because if you see a Jeep coming, there's a 50-50 chance it's a girl driving it.
Yeah.
100%.
Trucks, it's always...
Not that that's a bad thing.
It's always just the basic-ass husband. Like, I just want to take the easy route. I want a Chevy or a Ford. It's going to be white or black because those are tough colors and black wheels. And they just all drive. Again, it's where I live, but they literally all drive them around. I'm like, can you guys do something freaking different, please? Yeah. Like, it's just God. And
they all have to park on the grass. Like, it doesn't matter if there's plenty of open parking spots at the restaurant. They always pull on the lawn.
And here's what I figured out. They're all contractors or roofers or whatevers, you know what I mean? And so they can write the F-250 off, you know, and so they go to the dealership, they buy the F-150, F-250, Silverado, whatever it is, and then they have the dealership put like, you know, $5,000 worth of mods on top of it. They do their little, you know, generic lift and 35s or whatever, and then they can 100%. Finance and roll all that in. They can't go buy a damn Mustang or an S2000 and shit like that and write that off. So that's why all these dudes have just kind of been funneled into the same 6 trucks. It's like you want the 150 or the 250.
For sure. Like that's definitely how it is too. Like when I was at Clemson, every frat star had a 4th gen Cummins or some brand new F250 with God knows how many dollars in wheels and horribly like rubber band thin mud tires on them. Like it was always Nitto trail wraps. Yeah. And that was just like your basic ass truck at Clemson. Yeah. I was like, all right, cool. Like you have a 2016 Cummins or F250. Nice. Everybody, they all look the same. And, and it's hilarious. Yeah, they're white or black. There's no other colors, white or black. That's what they all have. And it always killed me. Like I died laughing. And then on the flip side at Clemson, like if you see a JKU Jeep, there's a 80% chance a girl drives it. Yeah. There are a bunch of TJs around, and those are all pretty much dudes. But if it's a JKU, there's like some mild lift on it and some all-terrain tire and some like stock wheel. Definitely a girl. Like 100% girl. And I literally think Rugged Ridge Jeep Company, they make aftermarket parts, and they're an advertiser of ours, and they're local, so we're friends with a bunch of those guys, and they're a big enough company to really do the market research. And this has been like 3 years now, and they were like, statistically, 48% of all JK owners are women now. So like we have to think about that to a certain point and what we make and stuff. But and then the Bronco is going to steal a lot of that female Jeep demographic because now it's going to drive nice. The top will still come back. It'll still have the vibes. So actually, my wife has already got her little deposit on one. So. Nice. Which one is she getting?
4-door.
Okay.
The 4-door, not the damn Sport. That thing doesn't count. But the whatever. But she's, she is the TRD Pro 4Runner driver now, but she's pulling a Woolly. Actually, so is Mike. But she's pulling a me, and she's like, well, I don't want to get rid of the 4Runner, but I want the Bronco. And I'm like,
gotta have both.
I've done filled up the whole house with cars, so I don't know what you're going to put. But whatever. But I think that, everybody's talking about, RIP Jeep because of the Bronco. And it's like, well, really, it is Toyota that's going to have to get their crap together because they've been kind of
for sure
resting on their previous reputation and dominance for quite a while now. But we'll see, man. We'll see what happens.
Does Toyota, do they still make is the FJ Cruiser still a thing or is that gone?
They killed the FJ, and basically that's when they introduced the TRD Pro 4Runner.
Oh, okay.
Then gonna be. It's weird because the 4Runner's been out since what? I think like 11, with a mild facelift around 15 or something like that. But all of a sudden, they like rejuvenated that whole thing, and it got super popular with the pros. And
Okay.
I don't know. They've been running that same 4Runner for a while now. So I'm waiting for Toyota to come with something.
This is their chance.
Something radical, because the Tundra's the same way. It's been out forever.
Yeah.
I love that truck, but it's been out forever to the point where it's like I'd be hesitant to buy one because I want to see what the next one looks like.
Yeah.
But then another year goes by and they don't make a next one.
Tundra.
But hey, if it ain't broke, I guess keep rolling with it, you know?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so
Some other guys get
I
back
guess-
into the.
say what?
I'm ready to see some other guys get back. I want to see, like, we were just talking about the Mitsubishi Pajero. Pajero? Yeah, little stuff like that.
Actually, let's talk about, like, as we're complaining about the Tundra, can we talk about Nissan and how the Nissan Frontier is the same thing from 2005 to 2020?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
actually, so my mom got into like a car accident last year, and we went to my dad put me in charge of like finding her a new vehicle. And my mom really liked Frontiers, so I'm like, all right, I'll go look at a Frontier. I found like a 2010 Frontier at a dealership.
Mhm.
I was like, used. I walked in, and it looked the same as 2005. It was the same interior, the same gauge cluster. It's like, how can Nissan continue to do this? Like,
Yeah.
you got to do something. And I mean, it's the same. Like, look at the 370Z. It's been the same for, I think it came out in what, 09 or something.
09, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Been the same for 10 years. And like the only thing that's changed, I think, is the Tundra, because you can now get a Cummins. Or, Titan.
Oh, Frontier. Oh, yeah, Titan.
Yeah.
Not anymore. They killed it.
So Nissan killed the one good thing that happened to the Titan was the
They
Cummins.
killed the XD because they kept burning down.
Yeah, I don't think it was working out.
Yeah.
But I'll be damned if they don't make a new Ultima every other year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That or like a
I hate
Maxima.
Ultimas, dude.
At least it's not an SUV, man.
True.
I hate chrome grills. I don't even like Nissan now that
Same.
the emblems are chrome. Like the Murano is a germaphobe's car. Although that kind of works these days, but like I can always make fun of it for being a germaphobe car. Let's not forget the Murano convertible.
Oh,
Oh.
that's classic
But
thing.
One
that
of my
was
neighbors has one of those, and it's so bad.
It's like a
dude.
rolling
You guys go
penis.
look it up. I forget what it's called, but there is a Facebook page dedicated to just ripping on the Murano convertible. But like people don't know that the actual Murano convertible owners think that they found a Facebook page for their car, which they all really like and have bought on purpose. And so one of them, whenever one of them comes in and says, "Oh, I just love mine," and they post pictures, like all the trolls immediately change and get super nice, and they do not troll at all. They're like, "I love it. That's so awesome. That's the best interior color combo on that thing. Congratulations on your purchase. I'm just hoping one day I can, get one." And like, but they're all completely nice. It's hilarious.
Of the Vert Murano. So there's one in Greenville. At least there was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
There was a pink Vert Murano that was donked.
Yes, I was gonna say, tell me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've seen one. I think I've seen that one on that Facebook page actually.
it always pops up at Cars and Coffee every now and then. And like I see it and I'm just like, yep, Muranos are still disgusting. It's like props to you for doing this, but like
Maybe.
still pretty bad.
I don't understand what happened. Well, actually, I do know what happened in Nissan. It's like the CEO, Mike knows about this. The CEO just kind of stole all the money and tried to dip out of the country, I think.
That's right.
He did.
Kind of the
Yes.
cliff notes.
I think they did, man.
That's wild.
They got him, right?
Yeah,
I heard that
he's
they got
he's in
it.
jail right now. What's that dude's name?
I don't
He had
remember.
a weird name, didn't he?
I'm sure.
I don't remember, but yeah, it was a crazy story. He while he was under house arrest, being investigated, he threw a big massive party at his house, and he escaped in one of the musicians' like bass guitars cases or something. Like it was some audio equipment. He like dipped in the case and left that way, and then ended up leaving the country, going to like Libya or something like that. Ooh. It's a pretty insane story.
When did this happen? That's wild.
I think it's kind of been happening.
Not that long ago.
Jeez, I never heard that.
The people he probably had to pay to pull that off is insane. That could not have been an easy task.
But to not totally crap on Nissan, the next Z at least could be something cool. They're saying turbo 6-speed. Yeah. So as long as we get at least the 6-speed part of it, that's cool.
I think cool, I think could be is the key word there, because like how many years have we been here and like the FRS is going to be turbo now, or the BRZ, or whatever you want to call it. Like everybody promises their stuff, and then it comes out and it's like, hey, it's the same thing you had, but it looks better. And
my concern with the Z is it's going to come out, it's going to be every bit of $45,000, if not a little bit more. And we all know that in 2 years it'll be 20. You know what I mean? And then in 6 years it'll be 10. You know, it's just like, it's one of those cars, they make a lot of them, and good or not, it's just hard to justify being one of the first to get it. Yeah. Like I'll want it in 20 years. Probably for a minute, like.
I feel like that's how the Supra is going to be too.
I was about to ask about the Supra. Do you think the A90 is going to hold its value?
I don't think it will, just because. I mean, I don't even know how many they've made, but I know how Toyota likes to make cars, and they just crank them out. And that's I think that's gonna be the problem. And I mean, I think the A90 is cool and all, but it's not good in my opinion.
It's not good.
Like they just put a crappy slush box in there. Mm-hmm. Like, and I don't know, that was probably a BMW call, just because I feel like only M cars get cool stuff, and everybody, and like everything else in the BMW factory is the redhead stepchild they don't care about. They'll still charge you like $80,000 for it, but they don't really care. Like, you want to have whatever a I don't even know what they are now. 320i, I think they make that. I don't know what they're like, we'll sell you a 320i, but we actually don't really give a shit about that car. Or you could buy an M3, and then we'll love you, and then we'll treat that thing nice, and we'll give that the cool parts. Like, so that's the thing. I don't know. I just feel like I like how the A90 Supra looks. Mm-hmm. I just am kind of sad it has a slush box. I'm kind of sad that the interior, like, there's really no true differences, I think, from what I've seen between Toyota and BMW. Like, they just look the same. There's just no sort of like difference to them, in my opinion.
The only difference I notice is that when you roll down the window on a Supra, you get absolutely terrible wind baffling in the cabin that I just don't. I'm like, dude, I drive a lot of new cars, right? Yeah. Because, with the magazine. And all new cars are good. And I just don't understand how did that happen? Like, how do you make a car in 2020 that if you roll down the windows, it's an instantaneous, like, I have a video because I dropped the little key fob in the door pocket, like the little thing that you close the door with, like the little, whatever, the pocket right there. Put the key in it, roll down the window, and the keys are going, because there's just so much vibration. And I'm like, this is just everything that's amiss, and why people aren't buying sports cars. It's $55,000. It's a goddamn automatic, which nobody is realizing that's not what we want. It's $55,000, automatic, no back seat. I mean, $55,000, I can have an automatic truck with a freaking giant back seat.
Exactly.
A sports car needs to have a feel. Like, I want the damn windows to go down, right? Like, I would love the Targa from the old Supra. Like, it needs to be there needs to be enough about that car to where you sit in it and you go, I don't care. I got to have this car. And they're like, but it's not practical. You can't buy. I don't care. I have to have this car. There is a bond now, and I have to have it. And with that car, I'm like,
that's what all of everybody else is doing for me. Like, we'll just say, like, the brand, like the exotic brands or the expensive brands, like Aston Martin, like all of them, like Aston Martin, Lamborghini, Ferrari, whoever you want to call, even Audi with the R8, like, that they're gonna suck. You know that they're going to break and they're going to be expensive and you're going to hate them. But you sit in them and you're like, yes, this is mine. Like, I want it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care that this is going to put me in an insane amount of debt here in the future. And like, I'm going to hate this car. I'm going to want to set it on fire. But in that moment, you sit in it and you're like, this is mine. Like, I feel like a race car driver.
Yeah.
911s are exactly that way. And it's just, that's how I think the Supra should feel. I think it should be like,
it's essential. I mean, it's just, I don't get it. I just, I don't know.
But,
I mean, I would rather, if I had 55 grand and I was going to a Toyota dealership and I'm the editor of a car magazine, I would buy the Tundra. You know what I mean? I go buy a TRD Pro Tundra for the 1794 or whatever it is, and I would buy an FC or a CRX or some crap like that with any money I had left over to play with. That's kind of my motto: new trucks, old cars. Like, why would I buy until there's a new car like that really gets me, And the Fiesta ST got me. That's why I went and bought it. But it's also cheap. But like, it's like, you get in it and you're like, yep, gotta have it. Like, I instantly went back to all the tuner cars of the 90s that I love, and it was like, yep, this is it. This is an annoying little like rice burning, like a Econo box. It's loud, it's feisty, it wants to be driven hard. Like, the Supra doesn't really want to be driven hard. It doesn't bring it out of you. It doesn't, like, I don't know.
It just, I mean, it just reminds me of those BMWs where it's like, I mean, anything that's not an M car from BMW just feels like you're just trying too hard. Like, you're just like, you just want to be accepted by society, and you're like, please.
You're
please
talking
love
about
me.
BMW owners.
Please love me.
Please notice me. Please notice I spent X amount of money. And
It's so funny because I'm the exact opposite. Like, I've had a little itch for an M3, either the V8 four-door or else the newer whatever it is, or four-door car. But I get turned off because I'm like, we saw one today driving back from the lake, and I was like, you like that car, Casey? And Casey's my wife, and she was like, not really. And I was like, I like it. The problem is there is no way, no how I'm not going to look like a dick in that car. And that's like what I don't want. I want the M3, but without that kind of like look, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But in order for me to get that, you got to go back. You got to get older. And even if you get the E90 or whatever, it's like, okay, now I'm just getting a car that's about to have a lot of problems.
Speaking of that, my crew chief Ty, he has an E92 M3.
Mm-hmm.
Has almost 100,000 miles on it. Mm-hmm. It's been great. He did the rod bearings. Mm-hmm. That's what kills me.
How much is that?
I think that was $2,000.
Okay.
Or 2,500, something like that. What kills me also is BMW's like, yeah, we're going to have rod bearings be consumable in our car. Like, should rod bearings be consumable? Absolutely not. Like, that should not be consumable. I should not have to, like, it's not a race car. I should not have to pull my motor apart every 60,000 miles and change rod bearings. Like, no.
That's what I don't get. But somehow they sell their car as the ultimate driving machine. I'm like, no, it ain't. Not if I have to do that as a consumable. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
It was funny. I took him to the airport, and I was driving his car, his BMW back from Atlanta. And I got pulled over for doing 105 on 85 and a E92 M3. And I was like, I was sitting there. I was fully prepared to go to jail. It's like, yep, we are probably going to jail. It was like Sunday morning at, I don't know, 8 o'clock. I was near, what's right before Braselton? Does anybody know, like on 85?
Hamilton Mill.
Hamilton Mill and Buford, Swan.
Other way towards like me and Clemson. So like,
Jefferson, Commerce.
I think I was in Jefferson or Commerce, but yeah, I got pulled over, and this cop comes up to the window and he knocks on the door, and I rolled on the window. He's like, I caught you speeding. It's like, yes you did. He's like, I caught you doing 105. I'm like, perfect. That sounds like a great number to me. And then he's like, I need your license and registration. I'm like, all right, cool. So I gave it to him, and
sure you do.
He walks back, and I'm sitting there like, oh great. Like, I'm texting my buddy John. I'm like, hey bud, I'm gonna go to jail. Can you come get me? Probably. And he's just like, Christ. So cop comes back, and he looks at me, and we start talking about the M3. He's like, how do you like this car and whatnot? And he's basically like, does it make you feel like an asshole? I'm just like, Yeah, pretty much does. Like, I feel like a dick every time I drive this car. Like, it just happens. Like, I actually don't own it, but it's my roommate's. But yeah, I feel like a dick every time I drive it. He's like, yeah. He's like, I have friends that own these, and basically they all say the same thing. Like, they're not assholes, but everybody thinks they are. But we continue our story, and he's like, well, it's like, I'm gonna make your day here. I'm like, perfect. He's like, I'm gonna give you a verbal warning. It's like, this is your verbal warning for this. He's like, please slow down. It's like, I don't want to see your car again today, or your roommate's car. He's like, and I'll tell you right now, down towards the road by Brasselton, there are some cops there. They're not very nice, and they will take you to jail for doing the shit you just did in front of me. So he's like, I suggest you go back to Clemson.
Yeah.
And you just hang out, and then you just contemplate your life there. And I'm just like, yes, sir. And I turned around, and I'm like, wow. Like
how did that happen?
Yeah, and it was funny because I Snapchatted it as soon as it happened, and Ty's sitting on the plane, and we have like a little group Snapchat. And I was like, boys, got pulled over doing 105. And Ty's like, great, now my car's impounded and you're going to jail. It's like, yeah, probably. He's like, Christ. He's like, I gotta stop letting you drive this thing. And I'm like, you probably should. Because a huge problem I have with new cars, specifically German cars, I have no concept of speed in new German cars. Okay. Like, because doing 100 miles an hour feels like I'm doing 70 in my S2000. Like, it's quiet, it's comfortable, and it's stable. So... And also, I'm bad. I never look at gauges when I drive. Like, I don't look at a dash. I don't look at anything. I feel like it's just a race car thing. But I drove on feel. So, like, never looked. And sometimes I'll look down and catch myself doing 110 or 15 in his M3. And I'm like, all right, we're going way too fast. But it feels like you're doing 70.
The problem is, this is something I've been on for a while. I think I'm just getting old and grouchy. But it's like, are you really going too fast? Were you really going too fast? It's like, no. Cars have gotten so damn good, you know, to where you can be going 105 miles an hour down the road and be perfectly comfortable and in control of the vehicle, especially you, because you have some driving skills. And it's like the roads, the speed limits haven't changed since my dad was a kid. Yeah. You know, car technology has gone light years. I mean, cars are practically driving themselves. The population has gotten full. That's a problem, you know, because basically the problem we're having is not us going 105. It's the fact that there's too many assholes on this planet and there's too many assholes on the road. And there's like no, at least in Georgia, the only qualification is like, can you stop at a stop sign and do you have a pulse? Like, it is literally not a driver's test. It is a sign test. You know, like, it's just, do you understand what an arrow going that way means? It's turn lane. Okay, well, here's your license. Go drive that 6,000-pound SUV. You know, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, I know everybody's trying to be politically correct these days, but like, can there be an actual driving school for a driver's license? When I told you I worked at Road Atlanta. Yeah. This was when I was in college. I was more or less an intern, meaning, you know, like I was getting my $8.25 an hour or whatever it was, and I was doing whatever they wanted. So I was maintaining the cars, light maintaining, like changing brakes and checking tires and all, and stuff like that. And then when there were schools, this was the fun part. Whenever there were schools, I got to just help out. You know what I mean? I had a four-wheeler and I got to run around and do whatever had to be done. And one of the schools that they did was a performance. What did they call it? It was like a team performance or defensive driving, defensive driving school. But they taught you like threshold braking, aggressive lane change. They put you on the skid pad, the wet dry, you know, and they would, you know, kick the car out and show you like how to correct that and what that felt like. There was a bunch of things that they did. At the end, it ended with a team autocross, you know, on their little autocross track or whatever. Yeah. But like, that should be a thing. Like,
that's actually, that's still it's a thing that you can do. So
it's a thing you have to do.
It definitely should be what you have to do. So
I mean,
when was
like,
this?
It's just, especially living in Atlanta and now being a father, like I drove back from Alabama today. So I was on the road with this, and then there was rain, and then everything just went completely to hell with these people. And Casey, you know, my wife's just trying to get me to calm down. She's like, well, you just can't change things. I was like, well, this is something that you can change. You know, I was like, the fact of the matter is the person in front of me, like, has not maintained their car ever. It's probably not ever put wiper blades, or the tires are way past due. And now they're going 40 in the interstate because there's a little bit of rain. It's not.
Were there hazards on too?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
classic.
It's like, what's the big deal? They're trying to. I'm like, the big deal is now I can't see their brake light. You know what I mean? Like, it's as dumb as it sounds. It is a little disorienting when that's flashing and you're in the same rain they are, trying to deal with the same thing. And you're like, can you not now I'm having a hard time figuring out what you're trying to do.
And then that annoys me when it's raining and people refuse to turn their headlights on. That pisses me off. Like, all right, it's raining, your wipers are on. Turn your headlights on. I literally cannot see the back of your car right now. Like, I need some sort of light.
I'm having a problem in my old age. Like, there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to drive from South Carolina to Atlanta at 90 miles an hour in your freaking new expensive M3, which was meant to do well over that on the Autobahn. Yeah. Assuming you have some basic car handling skills, which you should have if you're driving a vehicle on the road that fast around people's damn children. Like, we should not be catering to the lowest common denominator. And that's what we're doing in this country is like, well, old Leroy there is a total fucking idiot, so we all have to slow down because he's out there. It's just not. I'm going through the same thing lately with me being into sports cars and the whole rest of the world driving marshmallows. You know what I mean? It's just like, all right, I'm done letting you guys. If you guys want to be brain dead, that's fine. But it doesn't mean that I have to be stuck behind you. So it's like I'm starting to just go around them in any means necessary, and not like in a rude way. I'm trying to not even get disheveled. It's just like idiot. You know what? But like everybody's driving these giant like cell phone chargers. That's it. That's what. And they're not paying attention. And I hate it. Oh, like here's the hat, right? And you're behind somebody and you see them doing this at every like little like house, like they're checking on everybody. I live out in the country, so I'm just like, stop looking at Leroy's house and drive the damn car. You just see their hat going this way and that way. And the other thing that I hate is it's always the guy in the F-150 or the Silverado. He's got his big fat arm on the center console, and he's got the phone on speaker, and he's like leaning in, and you see him talking on the phone. You know what I mean? Oh God, drives me absolutely. Yeah, and he, as soon as that phone comes up, the speed drops 5 miles an hour. Oh yeah, like, get some shit out of the way. I don't know. I can't handle it. I cannot hate that.
It's like Idaho.
What's that?
It's just like that in Clemson. I mean, middle of nowhere, South Carolina, kind of same thing. What I was saying about the defensive driving school, though, like I actually love how I mentor a guy named Ted Theodore. He got me into instructing for Tire Rack's Street Survival School. Mm-hmm. And it's essentially that same thing you guys did at Rhode Island. It's a defensive driving course for teens from whatever age, 15 to like
that's cool
18, I don't even know. But basically, we teach them how to essentially autocross, threshold brake, essentially drive on track, but we don't tell them any of the we don't tell them any of those things. We're not being like, hey, you're going to be a race car driver. We're going to teach you like, hey, this is how we teach people how to drive race cars. Yeah, it's like we're going to teach you how to be safe. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we do the skid pad thing. We do the aggressive lane change. We basically set them in an autocross, and it's cool and it's fun because I get to sit there and instruct these kids, and you get to watch them like figure it out eventually. Mm-hmm. And it's the same feeling I get when I teach people how to like in HPDE. Like you work with this one student all day, and he finally like clicks. It finally clicks for him. Like he finally does turn 12 right, or he finally is not scared of that, or he hits the S's like flowy and all that. And it's the same thing with these teens, and I think it's the coolest thing is just like they're not scared anymore. Yeah, like,
you can see the confidence. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like we have a lot of these kids come into these schools, and they're just like terrified of cars. They're like, I don't even want to drive. And we're like, driving's not scary. Like it's actually really fun, and like we can teach you how to be safe and how to have fun. Yeah. One of my favorite parts about that school though is they always bring out a tractor trailer, full rig, and we make every single one of the kids get in that rig, and then we have them look in the mirrors, we have them look around.
Oh, that's cool.
And then you sit there like, do you see anything? They're like, no. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, hop out. And then they look around and they suddenly see 2 cars.
Yeah.
By the tractor trailer, where the kids would probably be like basically mid trailer where
Yeah.
you know exactly that like we all know that trucker can't see us, but the kids don't. And
Yeah.
Right.
that's a big thing for them, is just being able to be in that truck and seeing how truckers can't actually see you in your tiny little Altima when you're cruising down 85.
Yeah.
Like, so it just is one of those things where we just make them aware of it. And then another big thing was we set off airbags just for fun. Like, we'll set up an airbag on like a trash can or whatever and put a water bottle on it, set it off, and you blow the thing 50 feet in the air.
Yeah.
And then we like kind of show teens like, hey, now imagine that's your foot
Face.
and your knee is going straight in your face, because everybody loves to put their feeling dash. So those are the two big things that we try to teach a lot of the kids is, hey, like, truckers can't see you, and feet in your face is not good. Like,
well, I remember like at the Road Atlanta School, at Pana School, they called it the hooker, because they were like, you know, you don't ever grab the damn steering wheel, and I still do it and catch myself. You grab it from the inside, but he's like, now imagine that airbag coming out. He's like, you got a completely shattered wrist and a broken nose. It's like, don't do that. Another thing that I always thought was really cool, like in the classroom, is, you know, the chairs had 4 legs, 4-legged chair, and you'd be like, sit in the chair is stable, right? He's like, well, okay, slam on the gas, so lean back. Now you're on 2 legs, it's still stable. Same thing with braking, lean forward, you're on 2 legs, it's still stable. But now pretend you're braking and turning, you know, you're on 1 leg, you're losing that
all over.
Yeah, it was just cool to watch them kids kind of figure it out. And then I always got to be the guy at the stoplight. So we had this aggressive lane change thing where they had to go, I don't know, 30 miles an hour or whatever it was, they were in 1 lane, and then there was 3 lanes. So they could either go straight, the right, or the left. And we had traffic lights, so 3 of them, and then 1 would light up at the way they'd have to change, you know, and so you just wait and go, thunk, and then one gosh would go, and there was always that one little show-off kid, and you'd always screw with them and like, wipe out all the cones and everything. It was fun, man, but yeah, by the end, they would always close it with another classroom thing and say, look, use your powers for good, you know, because they were like, this is all controlled, like, I know you're feeling confident now, and you've learned a lot, and that's good. You've gotten a lot better, but you don't know on the road. You know, there's oil around the next turn, or a deer, or a cat. He's like, you can't control on the road, so you always have to be prepared for that stuff. Yeah. But, yeah, man, I think that our whole world needs that. That would be pretty sweet.
I'm pretty sure, like, Finland actually does. Like, Finland.
Yeah, they have the best drivers.
They have, like, a straight-up, like, it's essentially rally school that you go through to go get your license in Finland. Like, like, there's a reason why every major motorsport, like, guy is Finnish. Like, and they're all fantastic because they become rally drivers at 15. Like, that's just what they're told to do. They're like, all right, son, you're going to go to rally school. Like, we're going to learn how to drive on ice. We're going to learn how to drive in dirt. We're going to just learn how to basically drive in motorsports. And then once you master that, you can drive on the street, which I think is what we need. Like, over-prepare everybody.
Yeah. We should really check the cars, too. It's so American that we're like, well, let me check your catalytic converter here. Meanwhile, everything else is worn to shit on the car, and it's on cords. Although that law might actually screw me in a lot of ways. Maybe we shouldn't do that. But,
the cords, the clapped-out bushings.
Yeah, like, all of it.
The 30-year-old Honda bushings that are no longer there. Like, all these things are bad. People just don't think about it.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. I don't know. Whatever. I got off on a tangent, and I don't know what we were talking about.
You got fired up there for a minute.
You got real fired up.
Dude, it's very because I get like in this internal battle where I'm like, you know, I should really chill out, man, and try and live up to my dreads. And then I'm like, no, these people are all idiots. And they need to know it. You know, like,
I mean, that's a regular thought I have every day driving. In other words, like, yeah, you guys are all idiots. Please stop.
Everybody. As frustrated as you were driving the family around today, it's so much more frustrating whenever you're trying to drive a fun little sports car and those people are still in the way. I was driving the Mustang around Friday and today, and just traffic and BS and people being dumb, and it's so annoying, man. It's just
see, I don't remember that. I think just the population, especially in Atlanta, the population's exploded, you know, but it's like, I remember maybe I was naive and young and not really, you know, like, you get so in tune now. As you get older, you're like, that son of a bitch that pulled out in front of me 10 miles ago is the reason I'm stuck at this light behind this son of a bitch. You know, it's like you play it out so much more in your head when you're young. You're just like, I'm just happy to be cruising and playing music. But like, I think it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. There are times when I take out my fun cars, I'm like, why? Why do I even do it? I have all the discomfort with none of the fun because of this person, you know, like it's just, and all the concerns because you get stuck at some stupid ass roadblock because they're doing some pointless construction and you're just sitting there watching the gauge like, oh crap, here we go. I'm about to really screw this up because I'm going to break down in the one way.
Overheat, I'm going to pick up a nail in the tire.
I'm going to try and push it out of the way because I'm so ticked. Yeah. Anyway, man, what do you like better, beaches or lakes?
I'm for sure. So I'm lake all day. So I actually grew up in Charleston, down on the coast of South Carolina. And I just started hating beaches after a while.
Really?
Like, everybody and their mother's there. Like, never go to a beach in the summer in Charleston, or at least go find one in the middle of nowhere. Because, like, everybody's there. That's, like, problem one, reason why I hate it. But then it's always just really hot. Saltwater pretty much sucks to just hang out in at, like, for most of the part. And, like, I also got really into, like, wake surfing and wakeboarding. And you can't really do that down on the coast. Like, you need a calm lake. And it also helped being up at Clemson because we have Lake Hartwell. Like, my apartment is literally like Lake Hartwell is about 20 yards behind me. That's where Lake Hartwell is.
Are you serious?
So, yeah.
You know the marina right there when you come into Georgia? It's like on the right.
Yeah.
That's like a buddy of mine from college. That's like his family's little marina or whatever. Yeah. I agree with you because I just was at a lake in Alabama, Lake Smith, this weekend and just got back. And for the first time, like, had the best time I've ever had at a lake. Because normally I'm kind of the opposite. I'm just like, well, this sucks. This water will kill me if it gets in any open cuts. I don't have but I was there and we had all the toys, man. Like, it was my cousin. He has this lake house. He's got a brand new Malibu. He has all the wakeboard stuff and all the wake surf stuff. I did that for the first time. That was killer. So, like, for the first time, I get the lake. But see, the ocean still, dude. Like, the ocean lifestyle and I love the salt. Yeah. I get salt water in my mouth. I'm like, bring it on, man. Get it all up in my hair. I love it. You put fresh lake water in my mouth, and I feel like I
gotta go I gotta make an appointment with the doctor.
Yeah, on that wake surfboard, one time I did not get up, and I just got doused.
Oh, yep.
For a minute, and it was just like, I'm gonna die.
I
caught something for sure.
I got really into the lake, definitely in college, because one of my best friends bought a really shitty 1987 Mastercraft.
Hell yeah!
It had a Windsor in it. It had a 351 Windsor. It was an inboard boat, and it was just an old ski boat. And we skied like 2 summers ago. We skied after work. Well, we would go to work, go to the gym, and then from 7 o'clock, we'd also go to Wendy's. We would take the boat to Wendy's because Wendy's in Clemson is on the water, and you can go park your boat there and go up.
Oh, that's sick.
We would go to Wendy's. Then we would ski for like 3 hours at night, like in the evening. And we did that every single day for a summer. And then actually last December, we sold his Fiesta ST. He was one of my buddies with Fiesta ST. We sold it, bought a really questionable Toyota 4Runner.
Hey.
And then a week later drove from Clemson to Salt Lake City, Utah with the boat because that's where he grew up. That's where he's from. And he was moving back home.
Really?
So this boat mattered so much to my buddy that he sold his Fiesta ST, and we had to tow the boat back to Utah. And that was like one of the best and worst experiences of my entire life.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
I'm
sure it had its moment.
It was fun, but it got real old driving 70 miles an hour. Because anything above the boat trailer just freaked out. It's like, no, we're not doing anything over 70. So we did the first day was Clemson to St. Louis, and it was probably the 12 hours. It was actually cool. Yeah. We towed the boat in front of the arch, and then took a picture, and then we found someplace like 3 a.m. to sleep. Then we got up and drove to Colorado the next day.
Yeah,
and that was let me tell you, Nebraska, the worst state in the world. Like, we were in Nebraska for like 7 hours, and I saw the same cow in the same one hill for 7 hours. like what's cruising along? I'm just like, I see the same cow, same spot, eating the same grass. Cool. Like 3 hours later, there's my buddy. And no wonder street racing's big in Nebraska, because there's literally nothing to do. Like, it's straight and flat. That's the perfect, like, let's build street race cars. Yeah. And then the third day was Colorado to Salt Lake City, which is nice because it was like 6 hours, and I was so happy to get out of that truck. And then worst part was I was in Salt Lake for literally 24 hours, and then I had to fly back home because it was Christmas Eve. And I didn't tell my mom where I was going. I actually got a call Christmas Eve from my mom. She's like, "Hey, when are you coming home?" She's like, "Hey, where are you?" I'm like, "Coming over." I'm on a mountain in Utah. And she's like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Have Dad show you how to find your friends on your iPhone." And yeah, you'll see I'm on Snowbird in Utah. Yeah. And I'm like, "Don't worry, like I'll get home. I'm flying out tonight." And yeah, we got home Christmas Eve. My mom was a little upset with me, but I was there for the holiday, and she got over it. But it was like one of the most fun and worst adventures I had, was just this questionable 4Runner driving across the country because my buddy loved a 1987 boat so much.
Dedication.
That's awesome.
Which I get it. And I feel like we all get it because we all have old project cars. Like, there's just some of those cars that you just love for whatever reason. It could give you the most headaches in the world, but we just have those things that we care about. And his boat was that to him.
Yeah, it's nostalgia and memories. And I associate every car with certain points in time that were good in my life. You know, either that I've had with the car, or if the car's from an era. Like, I have an E34 BMW from like 1992. That was like the year before I moved from awesome Florida to freaking Georgia, which I hated at the time anyway. And so like everything like late 80s, early 90s to me is like epic. Any Pauly Shore movie, any like any song up until like 92, maybe early 93, great. And then once Goo Goo Dolls or whoever made that Runaway Train, I literally... That song was about killing yourself and not doing it, and it made me want to kill myself. That song is terrible. Oh, my God. It really was. To this day, when that song comes on, Casey's like, "What is your deal with that song?" I'm like, I can hate it. Turn it off. Anyway. I guess that's all.
I think we've been going like 2 hours. Probably about time to wrap it up on that note.
Yeah. That's an interesting
the
note
one we're gonna pull on
to wrap up on.
That's an e-brake right there.
And bad
so,
drivers.
anyways,
all right.
James, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. For the people that want to check you out, where can they find you?
So YouTube, obviously, search my name, James Wood. RX7, search that together, you'll find me. If you don't, you'll find James Woods from Family Guy. My Instagram is James FC Wood. It's spelled like you would do something, so WOULD. And then
wait, that's confusing.
It really is. Like, it was a dumb joke from one of my friends, and I just kept it.
Okay.
So yeah, you can find me. Or James Wood Racing on Facebook. And that'll put you to all my other things. Or just add me on Facebook if you like cars. I have a lot of Facebook friends I've never met that just add me for cars. And if you have a cool-looking car in your cover photo, I typically will add you. And then
exactly what I do.
If you're an asshole, I'll probably delete you. But that's you get in having the cool car. That gets you in, and if you're a dick, you're out.
Do you unfriend or do you unfollow?
It depends. I actually had to unfollow a lot of people. Or unfriend a lot of people because I got like too many friends at one point, so I had to unfriend a ton. But now I'm just unfollowing because I got that down, and I'm trying not to be a mean person. So like, I don't know, if you're supposed to really dumb like Corona stuff, I just keep seeing every single day for like 2 weeks. I'm definitely unfollowing you. Like, I don't care that much.
I've been having an internal struggle with that too, because I'm like, well, I don't want to like, I like them as a person. So unfriending seems harsh.
That's kind of mean.
But I certainly don't want to see any more of their bullshit.
Yeah.
Maybe I should unfollow. I've been trying to figure out the right way to handle that, and I've been going unfollow, but keeping the friend.
And
I'm going to be honest with him when I see him at Grid Life or whatever. I'm going to be like, dude, how have you been? I'm asking because I don't know, because I unfollowed you because of your bullshit posts on Facebook, but I did not unfriend you because I still think of you as a friend.
I still like you. I just hate whatever you
hate what you post.
Please stop. Yeah. So that's typically where to find me. Or if you see a really loud green RX-7 in the wild at a racetrack, that's me, and come say hi.
Yeah,
I'll give you a hug and stuff. Yeah, I'll get a free sticker.
Hell yeah. I appreciate that, bro.
So, once again, thanks, James, for hanging out with us. And also, once again, www.s3mag.com. 2 years and a t-shirt for $20. Please go subscribe so I can keep my job.
Then do it now, because I'm going to raise that price. I need a boat.
Oh, whoa.
I need a boat.
But anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We hope to see you next week. We'll see you later. Have a good night.
Later.
Bye, y'all.